I've learnt the hard way. I've made so many mistakes. I will be honest with you, 3 months in, I was thinking, oh, I may have made a bad decision here, going after jobs that I knew I'd never win. You either sink or swim, I suppose, and you come out fighting, and I had to make it work. So they've seen like the growth from me being like a one-man band to now having a company with, you know, just over 30 people in it. I think you can learn as much as you want out of textbooks and what have you, but
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Real Talk podcast. Super excited to have you on today, John. Looking forward to hearing your journey to date and for the future as well. So for everyone, all the listeners, if you want to introduce yourself, tell us what the business is and what you guys do.
First of all, thank you ever so much for having me. Really glad to be here. So I'm Jonathan Morley. I'm CEO and founder of Secure Power. I've been in business, 14 years this year in May. We basically supply, install and maintain UPS systems. We're also manufacturing product now. So we work UK wide, and we're just in various industries selling our product basically.
Fantastic. It's 14 years then.
Yeah, it's it don't feel that long, as daft as it is.
I'm sure it goes quicker as you get older.
Oh gosh, yeah. Your mum and dad tell you that, don't they? It doesn't feel long at all. It's been a massive learning curve for me. I settled the business when I was 24. I've basically thrown myself into it. I worked at a company doing sales prior to me setting up this business, doing something similar. And I never managed a team before. I never set up a business before. It was quite dangerous, really. A bit scary. A bit like just totally throwing yourself in deep end. But you either sink or swim, I suppose, and you come out fighting. And I had to make it work. The business. It's been interesting, shall we say, and I've learned a lot over the 14 years.
So John, it fascinates me when a business owner decides to start up. When was that moment when you thought, right, I'm going to do this on my own? And why was that moment as well?
Well, it starts from way before I even went into work, if I'm honest with you. At school, I suppose you could a quintessential briefcase wanker. that was what I was. I used to love the financial industry. Okay. I used to love business. I used to do business studies at school. It's just something that really interested me. I don't know why. It's just something that I enjoy doing. My grandma used to do shares, believe it or not. Only like small amounts, like £100 here, £100 there. But it got me learning about the financial industry, how it works, supply and demand, that sort of thing. And when I went into school, I already sort of knew a lot about business because I used to read about it. I used to read Financial Times. It was just something I was really interested in. And so I always wanted to have my own business at some point in my career. So I went to university. I did law and business. I loved the business side, but law just wasn't for me. It just weren't my thing. So I basically took a year out, went and got a job, and then worked for a company, and then went into like a sales role doing UPS systems. And the company I worked for, a brilliant business. The guys who I worked with were like, the camaraderie were excellent. I used to love it. I used to love going to work. But I could see certain things that they did extremely well, but there's certain stuff that I think I could do better myself. So in, it was 2009, I'd been on holiday and I thought, right, I'm 24. I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. I'm young, I'm hungry, I really want to get on in life. I really want to get a business going. And my attitude is I've got nothing to lose. Like, if the business doesn't work, it's poor, boo-hoo, but I'll go and get another job. That's the worst that can happen. So I went in with that mental sort of approach, just to think, right, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do everything in my power to make this work. But if it doesn't, I'll go and get a sales role, because I was really good at sales. I used to love it. I used to love making calls out, bringing new customers on, again, the camaraderie with the customer as well. And and offering like the best solution that was available. But the key things that I took away from my time at that business is that they only had a very limited amount of products that they sold. So even though I knew that product wouldn't sort of suit that customer, it was only the product I had available. So when I set up my own business, I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll sell all these different brands from other manufacturers and have a portfolio of products that I could cover more or less any opportunity that come my way. So yeah, so I did the big jump. I'll be honest with you, 3 months in, I was thinking, I may have made a bad decision here, because I was getting like inquiries, but I weren't able to convert them. And the sort of stumbling block I kept on coming against was, oh, you're a new business, or you're a small company, or you ain't got no history. And it were really difficult. And we had one customer that gave me a chance. They gave me an opportunity for a job in Leeds.
It only takes that one chance.
And it just snowballed from there. I mean, that customer, funnily enough, is still a customer to this day of ours. So they've seen like the growth from me being like a one-man band to now having a company with, just over 30 people in it. It's but it's weird, because it's just like a bit of a blur from like me being on my own.
How do you wake up one day and now you've got 30 employees?
Yeah, it's scary.
So John, what intrigues me, and I'm sure it does for his listeners as well, is the thirst for wanting to set up your own business and going to university, studying business. Do you think that set you up well for setting up, or was it completely night and day, the contrast?
I think learning in a classroom is one thing, but actually being in the real world is another. I think you can learn as much as you want out of textbooks and what have you, but until you're actually doing it and you're actually getting stuck in, it doesn't set you up. You need to have experience, like on-the-job experience. And I've learnt the hard way. I've made so many mistakes.
And what are those mistakes that you've made?
Oh, gosh. Basically going after jobs that I knew I'd never win. So, for example, typical example, I had an opportunity to win a job. I'd only been in business 2 or 3 months, and I couldn't even afford a car. I mean, my mum and dad, bless them, lent me their little battered up Mini to go and see customers and this, that and the other. And there were a job in Lancaster. It was about like £500,000 job. I mean, I got like 15 grand in bank, and like I got suppliers not even wanting to give me credit. Okay. I had to pay for everything up front because I'm a new business. Why have I gone for that? Why have I wasted my time going after that opportunity, which I'm never going to win? And the funny story is, when I actually went I was 2 minutes late for me because I got in traffic on the Woodhead over to Lancaster. And it was like a walk around with other suppliers for this particular job. And I drive in this battered old Mini. I'd already lost the job. I might as well have drive home. Like, they were like, you can't bankroll that job. £500,000, it's just not happening. So, well, no, I gave it back to mum and dad when I could afford my own car. But unfortunately, my dad sold the Mini. But what's funny is he's actually looking for another one. He knows how to waste money, my dad. So, but I mean, my parents are not even from like the business industry. Like, I'm an oddity in my family, really. All my like uncles and aunties and my cousins and what have you all work in public sector, either nurses or work for local council. So being in business, I'm like an odd child, I suppose, in my family.
So going back to those beginning stages of setting up a business, what was your darkest moment, or the moment where you had so much doubt about whether this is going to work or not?
So, like I said, when I set up, it's the old thing, isn't it? I don't know if other people can relate to this. When you set up in business, you speak to people. Oh yeah, I'll place business with you. I'll support you. You go and do it, and it's like, where are them people? Where they disappeared to? So I was like, right, I've got to go out. I'm always good at sales, always good on the phone. I had to go out and find new business and do what I need to get the business running. And I was thinking, I've got mortgage. My partner at the time, she were at university. So it was only my wage coming in, and And 3 months in, I'm thinking, oh gosh, like I've got nothing coming in. And then it was literally sleepless nights thinking how I'm gonna make this work. And I'm thinking I've just turned down a brilliant job with a brilliant company to do this. I'm thinking, oh gosh. But then when I got that first job through, it just rolled on then. I was winning job, another job, another job.
Going back to that time then, John, when you had a mortgage and there was nothing coming in, how did you manage mentally to get through that period? I'm very good at switching off to sort of like stuff like that. I just think, like I said, I think it's the old thing for me. It's like you either sink or you swim. And I always believe, especially in business, the more you put in, the more you get out. So like if you're banging down loads of doors, one's going to open at some point. It's only a matter of time. Yeah. And I just believed that I could do it. Yeah. It's just that self-belief. And I know sometimes, I suppose it could come across as arrogance, but I always thought that, God forbid, if something ever happened to my business, I could get on phone, I can sell as good as anyone else. That's where I am. That's the kind of person I am. But I think sales is a fundamental me for businesses, especially in any sort of industry. If you can't sell yourself, you're really struggling, to be fair.
There's probably a lot of listeners out there now that can relate to that at their moment in their journey now. It's that, right, I've made that decision, I've made that leap to start up my own business. There's a lot of hats to wear. It's quite challenging. And how do I actually get there? And they're getting these knockbacks and they're worrying about how they're going to pay for the mortgage and the family. What kind of key advice would you say to help those people at that moment in time with their mindset and switching that? Because it's difficult. It's not as easy for everyone, is it?
I just think if you believe in what you're doing and you believe in what your offering is, you'll always prevail. Like if you don't believe in it, or you're always going to struggle, I feel. And I've been with other people who started up in business and they've like done it half-heartedly. It's like you're either all in or you're not.
Having that passion,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I've had friends who've like gone part-time and then tried to set up a business on the side. And it's just, for whatever reason, it's like, well, I've got this to fall back on. And with me, I had nothing to fall back on. It was literally sink or swim.
You was all in. All in.
And the thing is, as well, is that I knew the business that I'd set up and the offering that I got were like really, really good and I suppose market leading. I believed in the manufacturer and the supply chain that I was working with. The suppliers are all selling to me now and offering me a brilliant service, and I built them relationships up just as strong as my ones with my customers. So they were backing me and they were helping me out as well. So if you believe in what your offering is and you've got the right people backing you as well, if you fail, it's just one of those things. But like I said, for me, it was just like, my attitude was, if it doesn't work, I'll go and get a job or I'll do something else. Yeah. It's one of those. That's how I got my head around it. And I did have sleepless nights, but I just look back at it now and going, gosh, it were worth it.
And that was part of the journey.
Oh yeah.
That was the learning.
You know what? So my brother Nick, he works with me. He's brilliant part of the team, and we look back on those days. We're like the good old days. Sometimes I should say that, but because like we didn't have much, and we made it work, and we had to make it work, and we just built and built, and we do look on those days fondly. And I mean, sometimes I look and go, in a much better situation now, but there's nothing better than starting up a business and seeing it moving and getting it going and seeing it growing. Yeah. It's like what I love in business, if I'm honest with you. It's like my main thing, like starting a business, getting it going, and then putting the infrastructure in place to grow it even more.
Obviously, you just mentioned that you took your brother on, so working with family can be a bit challenging sometimes, or how far into it did you think, right, I'll take on Nick?
Oh, well, so it's funny about that. So I was sort of, and I hope Nick doesn't take offence to me saying this, but I was also in that camp that I'll never take on family and this, that and the other. Well, I've actually got my brother and my cousin working for me now, so I've still not learned, have I? But Nick, he was really good at sales, and had not employed anybody or on my own. The company's growing and getting more inquiries. And Nick were working for like a local IT company in IT sales. And a lot of my customer base were IT resellers and telecoms resellers and that sort of thing. So I was looking for a salesperson to come into office to free me up to go out see more customers, and someone I could trust to sort of run the back room sort of stuff. And Nick were that guy. Nick weren't happy in his job. This is my brother, obviously. And I just said, look, I'm needing to recruit somebody. Would you be interested in coming and working with me and being a team and growing this business? And he jumped at the chance, to be fair. And and that paid dividends because Nick's very similar to me, easygoing. I mean, me personally, I can be quite highly strung. He's like horizontal. I think that's probably why it works, to be fair. But he knew how to work with these IT resellers because he could see what they were looking for themselves. Because he's worked for an IT reseller, he could see, right, this is what your offering needs to be for this kind of customer. And then we tailored more of an offering to those kind of clients, and the business grew again, to be fair, on employing him. My cousin also joined the business, 18 months ago. So he's running our marketing division now within the company. And he's been a brilliant asset to company as well. So I know there's people say don't employ family, and I was firmly in that camp, to be fair, before. But for me, it's really worked really well, to be fair. So, yeah.
So within your journey of 14 years having business, there will have been a point, I'm sure, where you face real big challenges as a business. At what point or when have you had to adapt your business strategy, and what lessons and experiences did you take from that?
Yeah, I mean, when obviously I set up the business, it was 2010, so I missed the the banking crisis crash.
Yeah.
And everyone were telling me, like, you're mad setting up a company in this sort of climate, and especially on my own. 24 young guy trying to get his business off the ground. But then again, we've gone through 2020 with the pandemic, and my business had established itself at that point, and went through it again. I just think you have to adapt. With being a small business, you're more nimble, you can adapt quickly. I mean, things like we did during the pandemic was we changed the way we're selling products. So we would normally sell a product and then we would invoice them and they would pay on 30 days. Well, a lot of companies didn't have that sort of cash around just to pay for a piece of hardware to go into the business. So we would offer like a payment plan to sort of spread the payment over a term, and that took off really well. And we've just basically, the team, we looked at different ways of how we're going to sell it. So rather than just sell, here's a piece of hardware, we'd go, right, well, let's offer a service, more of a service-based sell, and I suppose sweat the product more, so get more life out of the product, so the customer's not having to pay as much out. So that was another thing that we just looked at it, how our customers are operating and how we could basically save the customer money, but offer a bit more of a service-led sale, more than just here's a piece of hardware, all the best kind of thing.
And I don't like using the word COVID anymore, but during that time, how did you kind of manage the team, manage yourself?
Yeah. I found it really difficult, me personally, just being honest, because I'm very regimented. I need to go to an office to work. That's just me. So during COVID, I was still going into the office every day because this was like at university, back to university again. I needed to go into uni to do my, like, people would go, I'm going to work from, I want to do my work at home and this and that. I could not do that. Too many distractions. I'd become a big fan of Home and Away and Neighbours, or Good Morning. I can't stand those kind of programs, but anything not to do my actual work. So I needed somewhere to go and be regimented. So I found it quite difficult myself. But the team actually excelled. We've actually got a lot more out of the team, during COVID. We had like morning meetings, evening meetings, just to see how they were getting on, if we could help at all. The only one thing I would say is that we noticed was the sort of camaraderie, because like in sales, you're getting salespeople get similar inquiries all day, and you'd be like, oh, you know, an inquiry comes in, oh, I need a quote for this. Has anyone had a price for this, such and such? Or has anyone had this opportunity? You can't really do that over Teams. It's difficult. You can't get straight answers like very quickly. We noticed that, but in terms of actual output and everything, we didn't really see in any sort of change, to be honest with you. And the business still did very well during COVID. We didn't see any drop in sales. We were very fortunate as well. We won a large contract literally just before COVID started for some local schools that we had to service and supply support to. So that really helped us out because, you know, it kept us, the engineers side, because we've got our own engineers, you see, so it kept the engineers extremely busy. And because the schools were empty as well during that time, they were able to get the work done. Yeah, it's like super quick as well. So we've been very fortunate in some ways, but I think you just learn and adapt, don't you? And like I said, we're being a small business. That's what you do.
So going back to you saying you found it hard during COVID times. So as an entrepreneur, business owner, a leader, you talk about routines really important to keep you grounded. Anything else that you could share with listeners in terms of what you think is really fundamental?
I just think your offering is everything really in business. What your offering is
in terms of yourself, sorry, John. In terms of yourself, to make sure that you are always mentally strong and.
Well, I just keep myself busy. I mean, you can't really tell, like, but I do. I'm into doing like fitness and stuff like.
You can tell, can't you? Looking well. He's looking well. He's looking well.
I do like go on like walks and stuff. I've got like a close group of friends who like, but I tend to be the one that everybody comes to be fair, with the problems. But and my dad was saying, to be honest with you, but I just got a really close group of friends. We all share his like problems. Everyone's got just general stuff going off, haven't they, in their life. But I do a lot of like stuff outside of work. So again, you can't tell, but I play basketball. Okay. I play a lot of squash. Play football. I just enjoy sport and that camaraderie with, you know, people who I play with and stuff. And that's what keeps me like just ticking over. And I've got an amazing family as well. Like my mum and dad have supported me from day one. Like I said, they're not from like business, but they're brilliant parents, and I've been very, very lucky to have them in my life. And like any problems I've had, you know, first port of call is my dad. I'd always go and speak, because my dad was like a soundboard. He'd just, you know, tell me how it is, I suppose.
I think you need that though. I think having that soundbite is so important, so valuable.
And I think just having someone like that fight in your corner and just being able to just have that sort of honest chat.
To say it out loud. Yeah. I think it makes a massive difference when you say something out loud.
Yeah, I come back from work and I just like, you know, this is what's happened. And my dad was like, oh, like this, you know, come on. Like,
it's quite calm, calming. Yeah,
like, it's not. This is not a problem. Like, you know, and that's what I needed some days just to get, because I'm on my own. Like, I always say that being a business owner, and I hope this is not to put people off, but it's the loneliest job in the world. Yeah. It really is, because you're at the top, and you know you've only got yourself and your thoughts, and
that can be a scary place sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I've always said that, and but when you've got good people around you and an amazing family, like, it makes it, you know, it makes it a lot easier.
I hear this, I don't know about you, I hear this quite often. It's about surrounding yourself with people who build you up and the right type of people.
I think gosh, I hope I'm not going to put myself down here, but I think like this is where, like, because I've got friends who live in America, and like in America it's very much like go for it, go and do it, like positivity, like, you know. But sometimes in the UK, and gosh, I hope I'm not going to speak out of turn here, but a lot of people like, I think a lot of people like to see you, like, drag you down almost. Like, don't want to see you do well, want to see you fail. And I never got my head around that personally, because I'm like that person who cheers people on. I'm like the first person to go, like, well done. Like,
so what do you do with those people that are so naysayers, as we say
just ignore them.
Okay.
Like, I just don't associate myself with them. You know, it sounds very cutthroat, that, but I just can't be bothered. Like,
Has it always been a case of you being able to just take yourself away from them?
I think you've got a choice, haven't you? You've got a choice if you want to be friends with someone who's like that or not.
Yeah.
You don't have to hang about with people like that. And I'm just not interested. I'm in my own lane. Like, I know what I want to do, and if that's how they want to be, that's their problem. It's not mine. Like, I'll just crack on and just make it work. That's just who I am. I don't rise to it. It's no point. It's just, you know, just do your own thing. Just enjoy. I almost feel a bit sorry for him, to be honest with you, because I just think, like, how poor must your life be to worry about me? Like, you know, just worry about yourselves. But no, that's one thing I've noticed. Like I said, in America, they're so, you know, if you do fail, you know, pick you back up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot. Like, it's just a different mentality over there.
So surround yourself people with those positive people.
And like, my wife's brilliant as well. Like, I've had plenty of times when I've gone home when I've gone, like, that, you know, I shouldn't say this, but I've had enough.
Yeah.
And with, like, Charlotte, my wife will go, what are you on about? Like, come on.
So on that, John, 14 years in business, how have you kept yourself motivated throughout them 14 years?
It's just coming up with, like, I'm an ideas man. Like, that's what I love. Like, I've always been, like, at the forefront of our industry. I've come up with ideas that, like, and then people tend to follow. Even the bigger companies, a lot bigger than us, will come up with an idea and they'll go, right, we'll steal that. We'll do that. I'm an ideas guy. That's what I love. That's what I like, live and breathe. And I love coming up with new ideas for businesses as well. Like, obviously I've got Secure Power, but I've got other companies that I'm involved in and developing. That's what keeps me interested. You know, we put an infrastructure now in at Secure Power where we've got a lady called Alicia, who's MD of the company now. She's running the day-to-day, and I'm there basically coming up with ideas, and she's basically putting them into action. And that's what's really key. I mean, we just launched our own product, and that's like another thing that I'm really, like, buzzing about. Like, I'm loving it, coming up with new ideas for products. And
Very creative, like, always what's that next step?
Yeah.
I love it. I've always said, like, the day that buzz goes will be the day that I think, right, I might need to hang my hat up and do something else. But I love it. I love my job. Like I said, I've always loved business from a young age. It's just, you have them rubbish days, but majority of days are great. Like, you know, being able to come up with ideas, put them into action, seeing it, like, develop, seeing it being successful. I've had ideas what I've put into place and they've not worked, and it's gone, oh gosh, like, what have I done here? Like, why have I done that? But you learn from it.
Yeah.
There's no other job like it. Yeah, I just love business. That's just my thing. And I love coming up with things and coming up with ideas. It's like the buzz of developing something is what I really, really like.
So what is the next step then? Have you got some ideas?
Yeah. So obviously we've launched our own brand of product. It's weird because we've got these amazing suppliers, and the relationship with these suppliers has never been stronger. We're still selling lots of product from these various companies. And we've got customers that will always buy their product because they love it. But then we've got our own product that we're bringing through where I can see, again, similar to when I left the company I used to work for, I can see what all these manufacturers do extremely well. And I'm thinking, well, I can put a bit of that in my product, you know, tweak that a little bit, put that in. And that's really paying dividends. And our own product's now starting to really take off. We won an award last year where we won the biggest player in our market, which I'll be honest with you, I shouldn't say this again, but we were turning it like a token gesture that we were turning up to this award ceremony, because we just thought we were not going to win it, because this company, they're like market leaders, like multi-billion pound company. They won it every year running. And it were us against them. And yeah, we won this award for basic product of the year to electrical industry. So that were, like, again, a massive tap on back to team and obviously myself. But also just like, right, I'm doing the right thing here. I've made, you know, again, we're going to push the business on. And also we're taking back a bit of control as well with having our own product. We can actually make changes. We can do what we want with it, which is when it's someone else's product, you can give feedback to them, but it's up to them if they want to change it or whatever. So the next step for us is we're now becoming a fully fledged manufacturer of our own products, whilst keeping that relationship with our existing supplier base and growing their customer base as well. So we've got big ambitions for the company, and we've got a brilliant team. I'm very, very lucky, to be fair, with the team that we've got, who also want to push the company on.
Or driving for that same.
Yeah. It's a really, really good buzz in the office. It's brilliant when I go in. I just love it because everyone's just on the same page, pushing on, and coming up with ideas as well. Like, I love that. I like being challenged as well with my ideas. I don't like yes men or yes women. Or, people just tell me what I want to hear. I'd rather be challenged. And to be fair, Alicia's really good at that. And Nick, I might say something and they'll go, well, like, nah, that's not right. You need to do this. So they're challenging me on it. I think you need people like that within the business as well. But yeah, the long and short is we really wanted to push the business on to another level.
Fantastic. So, John, what would you say the 3 behaviours that you've had to have throughout these 14 years that you could tell our young entrepreneurs or business owners?
Tenacity, I think, is one of the keys. You just got to get through it. Just get through it. Don't worry about things. Don't overthink it. I meet a lot of people in the pub that always said, I could have done that. I could have done this. I meet loads of them.
Yeah.
But actually stepping over that line to actually doing it is a different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
I know it's not, I suppose, I always say, trust your gut. That's got me out of some situations in the past where something just doesn't feel right. And I've gone, and in fact, I'll tell you one particular quick story. That we won a job many years ago. I think I'd only been in business 3 years. Big job in Manchester. I'd won it, done all the work for it, surveyed it, put a solution together. An order were coming along, and he was like, and something just didn't feel right. Something just didn't feel right about the job, about this particular project. So I turned it away, and everyone was saying, you're mad. You're absolutely mad for turning that job away. It's a big job. It made a massive change to business. But that job went peak-on. It weren't right. Literally everything I had said.
You followed your goal.
My wife always said I should be on Traitors. I should be one at Faithful on Traitors. Because I can see stuff coming before others do. I'm very good at working stuff out before it happens, or reading people. Because if something's not right, it's not right. And I just think drive as well, just drive. You got to be able just to, if you haven't got no drive, I met people, especially in sales, where they've got all the education, so they've had the degree and and it's almost like they feel like they're owed a living, in which I dropped out of uni, but I had a load of drive and I wanted to push on. So there were people starting with degrees in company I used to work for who got to a certain level, but I were able to get above that because I've got the drive and the I wanted just to push on and get on with my career. I think drive's a massive thing, regardless of what your education is, regardless of where you're from, what you do. If you haven't got drive, what's kind of the point?
Fantastic. And as last question, what would you say to your younger self?
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
There's a song that, Be Happy.
You know you're going to be singing.
I know, yeah.
And the other thing as well is, I suppose I'd have a better haircut if I didn't worry. I think that would be a key. I think what's really helped as well is, meeting people who've actually done it before. With meeting John, I mean, he's really helped again push the business on. I thought I knew a lot, but then I've learned stuff even more to push the business on even more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's it. Just don't worry. Just carry on.
Love that.
Well, John, that's been absolutely
I know, it's been amazing. Great story to hear. No, thank you for putting that time aside. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the future now, seeing what's next.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be a good year this year. So, yeah, really looking forward to it.